Hello. This is my Thanksgiving part two. These are the games or systems that I'm thankful that I've managed to get my hands on, own, play, game, whatever. These are the games that I'm thankful for. Um, and even though this is like a top 10, the order is unimportant. These are just 10 things that I just love. And here we go. Um, The first thing I'm going to talk about is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now, this game was the first Legend of Zelda game I played. As a matter of fact, I remember getting it when I was like 5 years old for my birthday, when I turned 5. I got my SNES when I was still 4 because my birthday's in February, and I got an SNES for Christmas, and then my birthday came around and I got A Link to the Past. And let me tell you something. This game, ooh boy, um, you have to remember, at 5 years old, you're reading, but you're not reading heavy duty text or anything. This game encouraged me to increase my reading level many times what it should have been at that age, because it was a text heavy game at the time. You had to really know what you were doing. Okay, I mean, you couldn't just go into the Legend of Zelda thinking I'm going to play this like I can play Mario or a platformer. You had to know what you were doing. But this game basically was epic. It had great music, great story, great enemies, great bosses. Um, Unlike what many other Zeldas have kind of the rut they've fallen into, where you get an item, use that item in that dungeon or in the next dungeon a little bit, and then you're done with it. So aside from like maybe 4 or 5 core items that you get in the game, you're kind of stuck. Well, this game got rid of that. You basically had everything. Everything could be used in every single dungeon. The arrows were always useful. The fire rod, the ice rod, there's certain things you couldn't get unless you had certain items. And it just was very well done. The music was epic. A lot of the tropes that people like about the Legend of Zelda series, this game made it normal. This game it's in some ways, it's the benchmark for me for a Legend of Zelda game. It's like, someone's like, oh, I really liked Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time is a good Legend of Zelda game. But, you know, everyone remembers their first Legend of Zelda game, but your first is always going to be the benchmark. It's always going to be the one where you're like, I don't know, man. Does it beat the first one? you know. Number two, Contra as a series is an awesome series. It kind of went down because Konami stopped really supporting Contra. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the game that I'm thankful for. Contra 3, also known as Super Contra, also known as Contra the Alien Wars. Now, this game is everything you've ever wanted in a game. There was a time when Konami was one of the premier Japanese studios, and you could tell because these people made games that basically epitomized the holy shit moment. Now, what I mean by holy shit moment, see, now graphics in games have reached the point where everything is kind of, a spectacle. Back in the day, like on the NES or the SNES, you reached, like, graphics got to a point where you reached the holy shit moment. This was when, like, a boss or a graphical something happened that basically made you realize, holy shit, this game is much bigger than I thought it was. Okay, you know, in Contra 3, there were several holy shit moments. But the things that I really remember is the first level of the game, where basically they used mode 7 to make it look like a jet came into the level and bombed where you were fighting, and like it lit everything on fire and you had to make your way through hazards. It was awesome. The second one was one of the bosses in the game where basically you fought the Terminator. You fought the Terminator. It was awesome. And the music in this game was awesome. It got your blood pumping. Konami really knew how to lay it down back in the day. Not so much now. but back in the day, they definitely knew how to lay it down. Now, this is segues into my next top 10 things I'm thankful for. Super Castlevania. Now, Castlevania, I'm an old school Castlevania fan, so like the style of Castlevanias where you explore and you find an item and then you go back to another area, that's okay, but I prefer the pure, you're a dude with a whip, you're traveling around from level to level, finding hidden stuff to fight Dracula. This is the purest form that I've seen is Super Castlevania. Now, Super Castlevania, another Konami game. They used all the modes in that game. They really pushed the hardware. They made that game look awesome. Um, the music was great. The theme song for Simon Belmont in that game I'll listen to it now and it pumps me up. It's on my playlist in my car. That game that music is just real badass. I mean, you know, for me, if I don't hear awesome Castlevania music in a Castlevania game, it doesn't even feel like Castlevania to me. Castlevania is one of those series where um, the parts that make up a Castlevania game aren't that much, but if you combine all of them, they're greater than the sum of its parts. Okay, and I don't know how they did that. They lost it. They can't do it anymore, but they used to be able to. Number 4, Smash Bros. I love the series. I love Smash Brothers not because of its fighting abilities or any of that. Although that's great. I mean, the fighting is pretty good. Using your favorite Nintendo character and beating the shit out of other Nintendo characters is great. But really, the thing that I like about Smash Brothers is it is a celebration of all things Nintendo. I mean, you look at Smash Bros and you think that's an odd item, and then if you look up about it or you find one of the trophies or you go get a book about Nintendo, you discover these things have significance. There's a lot of thought and effort and work that's put into a Smash Bros game. I mean, the guy who makes this game, I mean, this guy puts serious work into his stuff. I wish, you know, in my business, I own a bar establishment that has arcade machines and pinball machines, and we make most of our money from drinks and that type of thing. But I mean, I wish if I did make video games, I wish I had someone who put that much thought and energy and effort into making their games, as this guy seems to, because his team and him. I mean, they put a lot of stuff into that game. I mean, nothing is incidental. And everything has a significance, and that's amazing. I'm thankful that the guy managed to do that. Dragon Age Origins, number 5. Dragon Age Origins, I like it. It's a good game. It brought back BioWare style RPGs for me. I mean, I liked the Knights of the Old Republic games, even the sequel. And I know some people, well, the sequel wasn't very good. I liked the sequel. I thought it was. I mean, was it as good as the first one? No, but if you are a Star Wars nut like me, you liked it. I like Dragon Age Origins because it made you feel like your character mattered, like what you did mattered. I'm gonna end it there. Stay tuned for part 2, and we'll pick up with number 6. Have a good Thanksgiving.